Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. We're going to be starting a new series called Let's Talk About It, where we talk about different life challenges, struggles, and issues that people go through and how we can actively solve them or provide some sort of middle ground to them. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about overthinking, why it happens, how to overcome it, and how to become better at controlling your mind as a person. If you know that you're interested in this type of topic, you need to stay tuned and watch till the very end. When I think about overthinking in general, I think about myself. I am a perfect example of an overthinker. When I was way younger, like I'm talking about secondary school, university, I don't think I even ever thought. Like I was not somebody that used to think a lot. I just used to act. I was very much impulsive. I still am, but back then I was way more impulsive. Like I just used to do. Like I never really thought had a thought process to doing things. Like I just never used to overthink or ponder on things a lot. And then when I think that it started for me was when I entered university, and then being a teenager in university, like it's a different life. You're on your own somewhat, because then you have to like stay with people, live with people, fend for yourself to an extent. And so for me, like just that interaction with people, I think that's where it started for me. So I remember the first time um, that I think I can trace it back maybe to was when I had this friend, and she said something like she was like upset with me about something, and I didn't understand like what happened. I was thinking that everything was cool, and then one day she just came and told me, you did this, you did that, you usually say this, you usually act this way, and um that's why I'm acting like this with you, and that's why I'm angry and all of that. And then I was like, oh, I didn't even know that, like, I upset you. I didn't even know that me being this way upset you. And you may think, like, oh, that's such a simple thing. Like, why should that even be important right now? Well, I think for me, I now started to become more self aware. And, that's where it now started to really, like, translate into me now overthinking everything, where it becomes like every action that I take, every step that I take, or just generally just creating narratives in my head, like about people or what they're thinking or how they act, and thinking that it has something to do with me. It's originated from what other people said about me or what they felt about me, and then I now started to draw conclusions about like myself and me being this way, the way I am. So that's like for me the genesis of my overthinking. Overthinking can be positive, or overthinking can be negative. You can use overthinking positively. It depends on what you're thinking about. Like overthinking, generally, I think everybody overthinks. I don't think that there's anyone that doesn't think or overthink about certain things, but it just depends on what you are thinking. What are you thinking about? Like what is your thought process? Um, it also depends like how you think. And for me, like you can use overthinking in positive ways. I feel you can overthink about like the Bible. You can overthink about like, oh, why did Paul write so many letters to the church? Like you are meditating, thinking about positive things that can affect your life in a good way. That is a good way to overthink. Overthinking is when you are thinking so much on an issue or a certain problem or a certain situation that you begin to come up with different options of how, or different narratives of how things could have played out or things could play out. You are now creating options and solutions and problems in your head about that particular issue. Sometimes it may not be problems, sometimes it may just be you thinking and thinking to the extent that you begin to draw conclusions. Good thing about overthinking is that if you overthink in the right way, you can actually think about possible ways that things could go wrong and find solutions that would avoid it going in the direction of it going wrong. So if you're thinking about the business idea and you're overthinking it, like you're constantly pondering, it may not be it may not be good in certain aspects, but then like it can be good in a way that you are able to think about different solutions to that business idea, like different ways in which you can do it. You are able to consider all the options. You go round, you are able to like focus on so many things, like even things that somebody that did not think would um would not think about. You are able to think about it and draw a solution. So that's a good way you can overthink. Overthinking can also be bad in the sense that you can overthink about things that are not necessary or unimportant. And I think that's where me, I fall into, or so many of us fall into. We are thinking about unnecessary things, or we are overthinking about things that do not necessarily have any positive impact in our life, or things that only bring negative impact. And we are overstressing on matters that do not need to be overstressed on. Here is the problem with overthinking. It's not the fact that you're overthinking, it's the fact that you are now acting based on what you are overthinking on. So let's say you overthink what someone did, or the way the person acted, or the way the person has been acting lately. It's one thing to overthink, and it's one thing to act on what you are thinking. So when you overthink and then you now draw conclusions in your head, and you do not discuss, you just assume that this person is this way, you have given way for a negative thought to come into your mind, and then you are now acting based on that negative impression that you've concluded on. So the bad thing about overthinking is that people overthink, they draw the conclusion without actually finding out facts or evidence, and then they act based on that evidence. Personally, I'm guilty of that. I've had so many, I won't say issues, but I've had issues with people whereby it was because I overthought. And I feel like most of the issues I've had is overthinking. And I feel like you will know when you're overthinking and when you are just, um, when you are just like when it's not overthinking. If you have a doubt in your mind, do not let your mind control you. Having Your mind should not have power over you. You should be able to put your mind in control. Hey, I don't mean to interrupt your video watching, but I kind of did already some as well. Don't forget to subscribe. You're already at the middle of watching this video and you haven't subscribed. Why? 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 If you like what I'm doing already, you like the way I'm talking, you like my face, you like everything about this video, subscribe now, share, like, comment, and yeah, you can go back to watching your video now. I'm done. It's not just about people, even decisions, like even while I'm talking, I'm thinking, like I'm always thinking, I'm always in my head a lot. And I'm thinking, oh, how do I say this thing that it will not sound bad? How do I act this way that it will not be bad? How do I do this certain thing? So like I'm always guarding myself so that I can not hurt people. Not knowing that whether you like it or not, people will still be angry with you. Active solutions. How can we solve this problem? I don't know. I don't know. Not me telling you the problem, and then when it comes to the solution, I'm like, beep, disappear. I really don't know. There's different people that have come up with different theories, different things that you can do to help yourself, because it's a problem with the mind, especially when you use it wrongly. You find yourself with issues with people a lot. You always you hesitate to make important decisions. You would always be in your head and think everything's about you. You become a selfish person because you're only thinking about yourself in every situation, and sometimes it's really not about you. So first thing is, from what me I think that has worked for me, and what I think that you can do, first off, is pray about it. Like there's nothing God cannot do. Pray about it. Ask God to help your mind to be at peace, and to help you, give you a reason not to overthink. So whenever that overthinking thing comes, God should give you a reason to not overthink, so that your mind can be at peace and you can move on from situations of life. That is one. The second one is communicate the thoughts you are thinking. If you just go and ask the person, like, yo, is it true, are you upset? Sometimes you don't necessarily need to ask the person, because it can come off like you are trying to people please. I know that, but if it's really bothering you, like, one thing I would always do is, like, I would always ask, like, oh, I thought of this thing, like I don't know if that's what you're thinking. So, and the person most of the time she's always like, no, that's not what I'm thinking. Like, and then don't try to bother yourself with whether the person is lying or not. Once the person say, no, I'm not angry, just take it like that and go and sleep. Um that's second one, communication. It helps with overthinking. Once you communicate, find out the real reason, find out the facts. The one that you cannot find out, if you don't care about the person, the one that you cannot find out, leave it alone. It's not everything that you must know. Give benefit of the doubt. Like my pastor, he said something one day. He's like, one of the ways to help your mind from having bad thoughts or having wrongful thinking or having wrongful state of mind is just assuming that you don't know, assuming you are wrong. Like for instance, like if you think, oh, this person is a bad person, blah 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 blah, why did this person do this, do that, and I'm using people a lot as an example because I feel like that's one of the major issues people have with overthinking. It always has to do with people. It's like, why this person, blah 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 blah. Just assume you are wrong. Like, oh, this person did not say hi to me. This maybe the person didn't know you were there, or the person's mind wasn't there. Sometimes, like I could be walking on the road and my mind is somewhere else. If you call my name, I may not even hear you. So, like, it's a safe way to protect your mind. Always assume that you are wrong. Even till now, I use it. Like, this is one that works for me a lot. Like, I try to just give benefit of the doubt. I had to learn the hard way, but now I do it and it works. And most of the times, my benefit of the doubt is always correct. That's to tell you that overthinking is just your problem. And if it has happened repeatedly, then you can now bring in the communication factor. But just giving the benefit of the doubt that you are wrong, what you are thinking is wrong, and if you want to find out the truth, you can ask questions. But if you want to settle with that and you feel like that gives you peace, then by all means don't go further, just go and sleep. You understand? You're not always correct. Your mind is not always correct. What you're thinking might not be the case most of the time. So give yourself benefit of the doubt, give people benefit of the doubt, give people grace. Like um sometimes people act funny. It's not every time that it's about you. You don't have to always think the world revolves around you. Like sometimes people are just in their feelings. Give them grace to be in their feelings and don't put that burden on you in yourself. I don't know if that makes sense. Like the last one, I would say, so what? So what? So what? You've lost that friend. So what? That relationship did not work out. So what? Your you lost that job or whatever you lost, or that is making you overthink, or so what, you were bullied, that is making you now overthink, and whatever reasons. So what? And what? Does it have anything to do with you? Does it affect your health? Does it affect your growth? Like these are things you need to consider. How important is this? Why do I care? Do I need to care? You know, um I think this generation, we need, and I'm talking about Gen Z now. I don't know about millennials. I think those ones are a bit stronger than Gen Z's. I think we have weak minds. Like I don't know, but we have this weakness in the mind. The mind problem is one thing that is affecting this generation strongly. You see people coming on Twitter, pa, 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 they are tweeting. It's a problem with their mind. There's something wrong with the way they think about life that is making them go out there to expose themselves. But anyways, like so what? Like why do I need to care? Like if something happened to you, you need to be able to have build resilience to overcome it, because if you do not deal with the smaller issues now, how are you going to deal with the bigger issues that come? So think of yourself, like think of it like, if it's not that important, and even if it is, do I need to affect this for do I need to allow this to affect my whole life? I need to learn to move on from things and accept peace, make peace with what I can make, and just move on. And just learning to accept whatever shit that life throws at you, because life will give you shit. If you think this problem is your biggest problem, another problem will come that will be bigger than that one that you were thinking about. So just whenever you can, have peace of mind and prepare yourself for the next battle. So that's my advice. I feel like in another 10 years I'll come back and watch this video and then I'll just smile. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and stay tuned for more from this series. Bye.